Live from the KWQC Broadcast Center, this is TV6 News at 10.
It's been another day and night of severe weather. From the storms overnight,
it's going to take a couple of weeks at least to get everything back up, cleaned up the way it's supposed to be.
to widespread damage from a violent system this afternoon and into the evening.
We've seen flash flooding in streets. And now some city officials are predicting nearly record-setting river levels.
This is a fast-moving freight train.
We've been all over the area, and we're bringing you team coverage.
Those storms top your first 6 minutes tonight. Good evening, everyone. I'm Gary Mativier.
And I'm Sharon DeRick. We've seen serious flooding, damage to home and properties. This afternoon, storms already responsible for at least one death. A man in Lynn County was killed in a building collapse.
And after heavy rains and dangerous winds passed through during the early evening hours, another system swept through tonight, bringing even stronger storms.
And as we wait to get a clearer picture of just how much damage we've seen in our area, we're just now seeing those storms pass. Chief Meteorologist Eric Maitland is here now with a closer look at the storm's path.
Yeah, and we're not completely out of the woods yet. We still have some of those heavy thunder showers off to the south of the Metro Quad Cities. But like line number 1 this afternoon, line 2 came through with very heavy rain. And to put that same amount of rain on top of the ground that was already saturated from this afternoon just didn't work. The water had no place to go. That's why we see some very widespread reports of flash flooding. As we look at the radar in the Metro Quad Cities, we're just down to a moderate shower, if that. North of Interstate 80, we're good, but you can see where that line extends right through Knox County right now, also into Henderson and Warren County and Hancock and McDonough County. And we do actually still have severe thunderstorm warnings for Hancock and McDonough County until 10:30. That's because here the winds will still be very strong, anywhere to between 50 and perhaps 60 miles per hour. Could be seeing some hail, but most importantly, it's that wind combined with the very torrential rainfall causing perhaps some flash flooding. As we take a look at the system as a whole, we had that first line, of course, go through this afternoon. We had a lot of wind with that. Now, along with the rain from line 1, it's the rain from line 2, which is finding its way onto these saturated soils. The good news is, though, after midnight, we dry out and we start a very dry stretch of weather, even though we could see a few raindrops tomorrow. We'll take a look at that impact coming up.
Well, parts of the Metro QCA were battered this evening. We're hearing parts of 67 in Milan are underwater, and authorities are asking you to avoid the area.
In fact, that is the case in many parts of the area tonight, with standing water over many roadways, some completely cut off. KWQC's Kai Edwards is out checking out the damage. Force in Davenport has just arrived on the scene. And explain to us what you see as we try to see what you have to show us tonight, Kaya.
Right, well, the rain has stopped, but we're on Kyoto Avenue near Blackhawk Creek, and the water is just filling the streets, making it pretty hard to get around, and a lot of the streets nearby are dealing with this issue as well. Take a look at this water. It has risen around a quarter inch in the last 10 minutes here, and around the metro it seems that this round of flash flooding is worse now than in the first round of storms today. We're getting lots of reports of trees down in the area, those trees apparently falling on power lines and causing fires. And take a look at this, 14th Street between LeClaire and Bridge. The road is blocked off where a tree has fallen down. There's actually a car beneath it around a foot away from a house. So a reminder to everyone who's out tonight to drive cautiously, especially with these wet roads. We are live in Davenport. Kaya Edwards, KWQC, TV6 News.
And this is the scene in East Moline tonight. Deep water flooding streets, cars stalling out, homes and buildings threatened by rising waters.
Yeah, one of the many streets throughout the Quad Cities tonight, just like this. And here in East Moline, the waters at this location appear to be surrounding the public works, so a lot of standing water out there tonight. Heavy rain also pushing creeks throughout the QCA out of their banks.
Yeah, this small creek running through Parkview is now 10 times its normal size. Longtime residents say this is the highest they've ever seen that creek.
Typically, this creek runs about 1 or 2 feet wide, and it's not unusual when we get heavy rains for it to come up maybe 5, 6, 8 feet wide at the most. But I think because of the rain we had yesterday, and then the first round of storms, and then followed by the second round of storms, especially with these heavy rainfall rates, we now see that the creek is on the order of 75, maybe as much as 100 feet wide.
Wolf says the water rises quickly in a creek this size with as much rain as we've had. He says on the plus side, though, it will subside quickly as well.
And we are looking at this very closely tonight. Thousands without power throughout this night. People reporting power outages across the metro area.
Yeah, in the Illinois Quad Cities, more than 14,000 Mid-American customers are without power. In Iowa, about 7,000, and we are told it could be hours before power is restored.
And still to come on the news at 10 tonight. In about 10 minutes, we'll talk with a Mid-American rep to see just what's going on to try to get the power back on tonight.
Well, storms earlier in the afternoon brought strong winds and damage as well. In Delmer and Charlotte, several branches down from trees.
In Jackson County, more damage. 3 snapped, crops flattened, signs down. KWQC's Katie Alexander out surveying the damage. Continues our coverage tonight, showing us one of the highest points in Jackson County with some incredible damage.
Here we had a lean-to back behind the barn. There should be, this is walled off at one time with the lean-to. As you can see, it's gone. There's nothing there.
That lean-to blown into the nearby loafing shed, bringing that roof down on 2 RV campers. The wind also damaging Patrick Nolan's house, shed, and chicken coop, and snapping large pines like toothpicks.
Pretty good wind.
You can see the twisted metal blown at least 100 yards through this cow pasture. The animals here shaken up but doing okay. Other animals on this property not so lucky.
We got the little donkey down and some sheep that are hurt. That's the worst of it. The rest of this stuff can be replaced.
Nolan says it's still too early to have any sort of damage estimate. He says the insurance adjuster was actually at his property surveying damage from last night's storms when they saw this line of storms approaching.
And he ran away, left me a card and said he'd be back tomorrow.
Finding reason to laugh, even as he surveys the destruction on his property.
Now you can see I've got plenty of sheet metal for sale, a couple of campers, probably go pretty cheap.
And he says he knows things could always be worse.
I think I'm going to go in and have a drink and think about all the work I'm going to have to do tomorrow.
Nolan says he's just glad he is safe and will be around for tomorrow. And he'll get right to work rebuilding all that he has lost. In Jackson County, Katie Alexander, KWQC, TV6 News.
A number of local communities are still assessing damage from today's storm. Debris in parts of our area contributing to other storm-related problems as well.
Let's go to Muscatine, where KWQC's Mark Stevens picks up the coverage. Debris in a local creek causing flooding concerns tonight. Mark.
Hey, Gary, this video shows just how much water would gather in Muscatine this afternoon during that first line. All of it was heading down the Mississippi through Mad Creek. Now, the Army Corps of Engineers added a floodgate at Mad Creek and 2nd Avenue in downtown 2 years ago to cut off the creek from flooding that portion of town. And that's where the battle against flash floodwaters was focused this afternoon.
Because they've already had 2 or 3 cars flooded down there. They're taking wood out of Mad Creek, and these cars just keep trying to get through. And I'm absolutely amazed that they will not turn around.
Diana Struck's wagging finger wasn't enough to keep drivers from attempting to navigate past Mad Creek, where Muscatine Public Works crews were worried about what was flowing down the stream.
The bigger stuff's up against the bridge, and it's going to start backing up, and we may have to shut this flood wall if it gets to the point. Because if it don't, it'll run down in the street and run into the Hahn buildings, and I absolutely don't want that.
A backhoe was called in to start dragging tree trunks out of the swollen stream, as neighbors looked on, hoping the floodgate could remain open.
It's a pain because, like, everything is over there. You know, we go over there. My boyfriend goes to work at GBC there. We shop at Hy-Vee Drug normally. And then, like, my other job's over there, so it's a pain to go all the way around all of this.
The battle against the tree trunks proved successful this round, although Public Works warns the floodgate may have to close if the river rises as forecast.
Possibly by Saturday it could be over 23 feet, which would put it at maybe the 2nd or 3rd highest level. But that was, I don't know if that was before the rain of today and how much they got north of us. So it's hard to say.
In Muscatine, Mark Stevens, KWQC, TV6 News.
And back to the QC Metro. This was the scene as drivers drove along by the old Kraft plant that's on Stark Street in Davenport. As you can see that there's some big puddles there as cars continue to try to make it through. That water also moving very fast.
And now we move from street flooding, what all of today's rain and the rain to the north is doing, to the Mississippi. It is the second part of our team coverage tonight.
A very big part of the days to come. The river expecting to crest this weekend, perhaps at 21.8 feet, one of the highest crest ever.
Yeah, and there are already changes across the QCA. Rhythm City Casino is closed tonight and will be until those waters go back down. And the Mississippi Valley Blues Festival is moving. It's going to be on 2nd Street in downtown Davenport between Main and Ripley Streets.
Tonight we're learning that the river level, also part of the reason a popular QCA tradition, has now been canceled. Red, White, and Boom called off for this Thursday. The committee says that decision came down to a matter of safety.
KWQC's Bailey Dietz says those flooding concerns are serious.
There's some really big water trending across Iowa as we speak.
Because of that, the Mississippi is going to continue to rise this week. Even so, Davenport Public Works Director Mike Clark says he and others were a little taken aback by the latest flood forecast.
18 feet was my big guess. 18 to 21 to 22. Yeah, I was kind of surprised.
Davenport crews are setting flood protection for up to 24 feet. HESCO barriers are up on parts of River Drive downtown to protect nearby buildings. The flood wall surrounding Modern Woodman Park is complete, and businesses that could be threatened by the rising water are being offered sandbags.
Getting in contact with the owners of those businesses and saying, here's what we believe is going to happen. How can we help you?
In Moline, River Drive between 23rd and 55th Streets is closed because of water already on the road. Crews are preparing sandbags, readying pumps, and have begun to shut floodgates. Businesses and residents up and down River Drive are being told to prepare.
We're in the middle of a very uncertain situation, and so it's always better for us to be prepared to a proper elevation of protection up front.
In Rock Island, Schwiebert Park will be closed Tuesday and Wednesday for crews to put up flood walls. Here, it's a fraction of the flood preps that are required back across the river, but Clark says even though it's coming up quickly,
this is a fast-moving freight train.
It's enough time for his crews to put the plan in place.
Our folks are very experienced, and so having to put in full flood protection in 24 hours is not a big drill for us.
Yeah, a lot of work to be done. Meanwhile, tonight, we keep getting reports of fires. Lightning apparently struck a home in Fire Lake near Sherrard this evening. That caused a small fire. Firefighters say the damage could have been worse, but the homeowner was there. The lightning apparently followed the wires through the attic down into the wall behind the stove. Crews were able to contain it. They say they respond to lightning fires like this at least once a year. Most often during this time, the Red Cross is helping the 4 people who live in that home. We want to get the latest on the power outages right now, as we do know that thousands of people are in the dark tonight. Mid-American representative is on the phone right now. Thank you for your time to be with us tonight, Ruth.
Thank you.
The big question that everybody has on their mind with so many out, can you give us some sort of a timeline when you can get them restored?
Well, we've had a lot of storm damage in the Quad Cities, both on the Iowa side and the Illinois side. The second wave of the storm that came through this evening was much stronger than the one that came through earlier, and so our crews are still out right now assessing the damage in the area. So we won't have an estimate until we're able to get out into all those areas and complete that assessment.
The Quad Cities' most reliable forecast with Chief Meteorologist Eric Maitland.
Yeah, definitely talking about insult to injury with wave 2 of the heavy rain falling on ground that was already saturated from this afternoon's round of showers and thunderstorms. Right now here in the Metro Quad Cities, things are starting to really quiet down. Hardly any rain at all. If it is, it's very light. But we're still looking at the tail end of this line of storms in the southern extent of the Quad Cities, south of Highway 34. And you can see where the radar gives us back the orange colors and the reds. That's the heaviest rain through Stark County, all of Knox County, and just extreme southern Warren County, and then into Hancock and McDonough County, where we still have until 10:30 a severe thunderstorm warning for Hancock County. This is where the winds are still fairly strong, 45 to 50 miles per hour.
Developing news we've been following this afternoon. A river rescue on the Mississippi has now become a recovery mission. First responders were called out to the area near Lock and Dam 14 just before noon today. Reports said a boat capsized with 5 people on board. KWQC's Courtney Yoon is live on the Illinois side of the river with more on the search for that missing person. Courtney?
Sharon, that's right. You can see Lock and Dam 14 right behind me here, where crews are still searching in their boats There were 5 people on that boat. 4 were recovered alive. Here's video of one of those people being rescued on the Illinois side of the river. A 42-year-old man is still missing, and it has now been deemed a recovery mission at this point. MedForce conducted an aerial search. Unable to find the missing man, search and rescue will continue until dark and resume tomorrow morning. Crews have not found the boat yet, but are still recovering debris from it and bringing it to Empire Park.
We have very high water, very swift current, very cold water, all recipes for a fatal boat accident.
We are bringing you team coverage tonight of the rescue and ongoing recovery, plus what officials are saying right now about staying safe on the water.
And that tops your first 6 minutes. A devastating day for an area family after a boat capsized on the Mississippi River near Lock and Dam 14.
44-year-old Charles Slocum of Kelowna still missing tonight. It all started before noon. Hours later, search crews were still on the water searching for the one person who was not rescued.
KWQC's Kaya Edwards joins us now live from Empire Park in Hampton with the very latest.
We're at Empire Park in Hampton, Illinois, where crews were on standby for most of today to help with the recovery of the missing Kelowna man.
At least find him so I can at least put him at rest.
A terrifying time for 5 boaters, a family, and 2 friends.
I just want my husband.
They had anchored the boat, but the rope broke, drifting them through Roller 5 at Lock and Dam 14. Officials say 4 people were rescued and hospitalized, but 1 remains missing.
He had on the good life jacket. He took it off, gave it to me, said he loved me, and to save myself.
And tonight, a dive crew out looking for the man and the boat.
We've called off the search for tonight. We're about 95% sure we have a location on the boat. We tried it. It's very, very difficult dive conditions with this current. We tried to put divers in the water, did put divers in the water. They were unable to get their hands on the boat.
Said to be below water, 20 feet deep.
We have 2 beautiful babies at home that I don't know how to tell them that their daddy's going to be their angel now with their grandpa.
And officials say crews will continue tomorrow morning with a side scan to help relocate the boat. Live in Hampton, Kaya Edwards, KWQC TV 6 News.
Charles Slocum's stepson Austin also on that boat today. He was able to make it out safely. KWQC's Mark Stevens continues our team coverage now, and you talk with Austin about this devastating loss and how he will remember his father.
Yes, today was supposed to be a good day to fish. It was a favor for a family friend scheduled for surgery tomorrow who wanted to take the boat out. Now, Charles Slocum said, sure. So Slocum, his wife, 2 friends, and his stepson, Austin Rada, went out to fish. They ended up stuck on Lock and Dam 14. And after today's accident, Slocum is still missing, and Rada says he's preparing for the worst news.
Went fishing a lot since I was little, and I moved away to Louisiana for about 4 years, and I came back up here. And we just started fishing a lot when it got warmer.
Austin Rada says his father, Charles Slocum, loved many things, but his family and fishing were at the top of the list. One of the favorite spots was near home in Kelowna, a spot along the Hennepin Canal.
And he always took his daughters out to go fishing, the canal up here. I mean, anything to do with his family, he loved to do it.
Rada hopes his dad will be found soon, but he's not holding out hope his dad will be found alive. The police warned him that wasn't likely.
Said they were going to do everything they can, but they probably won't find him.
He's left holding tight to fond memories of his dad.
You know, he's a very nice guy, loving, loved us.
Rada's not sure how the family will explain the story to his father's 2 young daughters. He just knows he's going to miss 2 very special parts of growing up with his dad.
Fishing. He was always there for me.
In Kelowna, Mark Stevens, KWQC, TV 6 News.
Breaking news tonight at 6, an arrest in the murder of Carrie Olson. The 29-year-old Davenport woman went missing just after Christmas last year. Her body was found in Minnesota in April, and today her former boyfriend Tim McVeigh was arrested and charged. We have live team coverage of this breaking news story tonight. We start off with Brian Bozen, who's been gathering information since the arrest. Brian?
Paula, we spoke with Rock Island County State's attorney this afternoon. He's now the point person in this case, and since then we've been investigating here in the newsroom. Timothy McVeigh is behind bars on $1.5 million bond. He faces 1 count of first-degree murder and 1 count of concealment of a homicidal death. McVeigh previously dated Carrie Olson, but at the time she went missing, she was living with her current boyfriend. Her boyfriend and family reported her missing on December 30th. Now we are learning more about the days before she disappeared. KWQC has obtained a copy of a search warrant served at Olson's home on December 30th. Police didn't find much, but did learn Timothy McVeigh had Olson's car. According to the search warrant, McVeigh said he dropped Olson off at 6:30 a.m. on December 29th, and she said he could drive her car, but the current boyfriend said Carrie never came home. Documents with the search warrant say the last time Carrie Olson was seen was at the Diamond Joe Casino in Dubuque. That was on December 28th. Olson's body was found in April in Minnesota.
There are facts that will come out which will answer that question, and at this point I'm not at liberty to discuss those facts and why this took so long. But any kind of a serious charge like this, you want to be careful and you want to be thorough and you want to make the right decision.
We asked a lot of questions today about why it took 7 months to make this arrest, 3 months since Olson's body was found. We also asked what led them to make an arrest today. The answer is authorities really just aren't saying much. McGehee says tonight that the medical examiner will be releasing his autopsy report in the next few days. That is when we just might learn more about how Carrie Olson died.
We begin with breaking news at 5 tonight. A fire at a Silvis, Illinois business.
Crews are on the scene right now off of John Deere Road. KWQC's Mark Stevens is live there in Silvis right now. And is this affecting traffic in the area, Mark?
Yes, Gary, Sharon, traffic is affected by this fire. First, let's talk about the fire. I've got firefighters from 3 different fire agencies here putting out a fire at the Dollar General store. It happened about an hour ago. We talked to a witness who was out here. He says he saw originally some smoke in what was a rooftop air conditioner unit in the corner of the building, and then as he was here watching it, the smoke just spread and spread, especially when the fire departments arrived and the firefighters punched in the glass in the windows. That's when the smoke really started to erupt. We did talk to the chief briefly, since this is still a very active fire. They are saying that they're not sure of a cause. There were 6 people inside at the time. All of those people are out, so this is not a search and rescue. This is simply just trying to get this fire contained. The chief said a lot of the fire was in the heating and cooling system, so at one point there were some flames on the roof. What you're seeing is still all of this smoke, and there are firefighters on every side of this building, several on the roof. They've been cutting ventilation holes and trying to knock this down from all sides. Now, as far as the traffic, John Deere Road is not impacted by this fire. However, Crosstown Avenue, which is to my north of this fire, is closed at this point because there's a hose line across the street to a fire hydrant. Gary?
Hey, Mark, and as we watch this fire with you, tell us, too, set the scene for us about the environment around you. This is pretty much a commercial area, is that correct?
Yeah, this is the commercial area in Silvis. I mean, you've got Dollar General. Jewel Osco is behind that. Across the street is the Walmart. You've got Aldi's across the street and to the north. So this is a heavy commercial area in this part of Silvis, of course, with John Deere Road being the main road. So you've got Silvis Fire, Hampton, and Carbon Cliff, Barstow all here trying to get this fire put out and taken care of, and then we'll try and get a damage assessment and get you more information as we can get it.
A steady course for the future.
And 4 years ago, I came back to lead the Iowa comeback, and we've done it.
Or time for a change.
And we will have enough opportunities to show the differences between Governor Branstad and myself.
Good evening and welcome to Burlington, Iowa. I'm Gary Mativier with KWQC. Tonight marks the second of 3 debates in the race for Iowa governor.
Now, what could you do to make Iowa's jobs climate even better? And we'll get to the governor's record on jobs in just a moment, but we want to hear about your plan first.
Absolutely. Well, we're very fortunate in this state, as in every state, to have a recovery after the devastating 2008-2009 recession. And every state is increasing their employment record. We're glad that Iowa has the most jobs it's ever had before. but so do all the other states in this country. And unemployment is going low, and that's as well an accomplishment for all of us.
45 seconds for rebuttal.
Well, first of all, obviously my opponent doesn't know what's going on in Illinois because they have the second highest unemployment in the nation. Well, Iowa's unemployment rate has dropped by nearly 30%, and here in southeast Iowa by nearly 40%. Illinois is mired in debt and has the second highest unemployment in the nation.
This bill would provide real tough penalties. You have to admit you broke the law, go to the back of the line. We need to pass immigration reform now.
Senator, would you like to respond to that?
Thank you, Ron. Yes, this is an easy issue that should have been resolved a number of years ago. We have a porous border with people crossing as they wish. We should have secured this border long ago. And then second, we need to enforce the laws that exist on the books right now.
Decision 2014 and the road to Capitol Hill starts right now. And welcome to the Galvin Performing Arts Center on the campus of St. Ambrose University in Davenport, Iowa. The second congressional debate is brought to you by Kwqc, the Quad City Times, and hosted by St. Ambrose. On center stage, Democrat candidate Dave Loebsack and Republican Marinette Miller Meeks. We are taking a unique approach in this debate. Instead of hard and strict time guidelines, we have in-depth conversations with our team of panelists.
Well, here at City Limits, things have been very exciting as some of the returns have been coming in. A big moment of excitement, of course, when Republican congressional candidate Bobby Schilling showed up tonight. Loud applause. How are you feeling right now?
You know, we're feeling pretty good. We've seen a lot of seats get taken here in Rock Island County that have been held by Democrats for a long time. But it's you know, we'll see what happens. We're behind a little bit, but there's still quite a few precincts to come in.
Can I pause you for 1 second? Coming in the door right now, we have Neil Anderson, who is doing very well. He's the Republican candidate for the 36th Senate district for Illinois Senate. A lot of applause here right now. People very excited to see him. This does seem like it will be the Republican upset in a long-held Democratic seat. Of course, he's running against Mike Jacobs for that seat. Mike Jacobs there since 2005 when he took over for his father, Denny Jacobs, who had held it since 1987. This is a very big night for the Republican Party, who has been waiting a long time to see Neil Anderson come in and a long time to have this to celebrate.
And here are the numbers. Right now, he has apparently been declared the winner. We'll bring you confirmation as soon as we can. With 54%, this would be a major upset. Neil Anderson over longtime incumbent Mike Jacobs, who took the job after his father, who held that same seat for many years, stepped aside back in 2005. And let's go back live if we can. Do we still have that up? And do we have him ready to talk with us about this major upset tonight? Here he is. Katie, let's take it right back to you live.
I gotta go this way. All right, I'm joined now live with Neil Anderson himself. A very big night for you. How are you feeling?
I feel really good. It's been a long year. It's been one of them things where the days are long, but the weeks are short. Felt really good coming into this last couple weeks. We did the work. We worked hard throughout the year, and we're very happy with where it ended up.
Giving your victory speech tonight, you had a lot of people to thank, a lot of support for you coming into this.
Absolutely. The support for this race was second to none. I couldn't have done it by myself. This is not a individual sport. This is a team sport, and we really showed that we can come together as a team, and that's the attitude I want to take to Springfield. We need to work as a team and get this state turned around.
Local sheriff under investigation. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Gary Mativier.
And I'm Paula Sands. In the past 90 minutes, Rock Island County Sheriff Jeff Boyd resigned. He stepped down amid a misconduct investigation that involves texting a woman who was not his wife. KWQC's Mark Stevens was at the news conference and joins us live now from Rock Island. Mark?
Paula, the Illinois Attorney General's office says the attempted official misconduct charges stem from cyber stalking, which Boyd was under investigation for. The AG's office says he was sending text messages to a woman he met at a Rock Island gym he attends. The woman had asked him to stop sending text messages, but Boyd did not. He continued to do so, and the Attorney General's office says he used his power as sheriff to continue doing so and send her a threat. Now, Boyd and his attorneys strongly disagree with that, saying that there was never a threatening message. However, this investigation has gone on for a couple of weeks, and in the last 24 hours just took a crazy turn, and Boyd wasn't prepared for how quickly this was going. So today, he met with Chief Judge Jeffrey O'Connor to plead guilty to the attempted official misconduct charges. He says the reason he did that, even though he feels what he did was not a crime, was so that he could protect his family from a long, drawn-out court process, as well as protect the integrity of the Rock Island County Sheriff's Department.
Fought this and go to trial, we're looking at anywhere from 8 to 9 months, potentially. We're looking upwards of 6 figures in cost, and we're looking at this office being brought backwards every single day I'm on trial. And the citizens of Rock Island County didn't elect me to do that. They didn't elect me to do that.
Now, Boyd will step down from his position as sheriff tomorrow, and then it's expected that Under Sheriff Captain Jerry Bustos will take over that position. Boyd says that what he did was wrong and he made a mistake, but it was simply a mistake, and by stepping down, he hopes to correct that.
70 years is a lifetime for many of us, but for Vivian and Alice, it wasn't too late to get married.
Now in their 90s, together for more than 70 years, they tie the knot.
72 years. That's a long time. I met Vivian in Cedar Falls, and I didn't know that she didn't see me at all. And I became interested in her.
She's very kind, very sweet. And she would do anything for me, I think.
We pretended that we were not anything. We were just plain straight people and never let on that we cared for each other. And because we knew the feeling out there.
We knew that people wouldn't approve of us, so we just kept very quiet. We're very careful about what we did and what we said. And the hardest part was probably, as she said, when we had to be apart. And we had to go to our parents when it was holidays, and we wanted to be together on the holidays.
We did not talk to people or anything about the subject, and no one asked us either. But we thought they knew probably what was going on, and some were happy, some weren't. I guess at 90 now we don't have to worry about anyone saying anything to us or about us. And so I think that we'll be happy now till the end of our lives. Well, I guess it took this long to get married because we felt that everyone was against us, and we did not want to publicize it, and so we just kept it to ourselves.
Oh, well, we've learned more about ourselves and how we are, and we feel that God has had a hand in all of this. And after the wedding, I think we probably love each other more than we ever have. We were married always in our hearts.
Here we go. And we are off. The howitzer has blasted the starting gun. And we can see how Christo Landry's right up there. Number 11, Joe's Fat Boyd. Now, he was the man that made the break at the Boston Marathon around 9 miles with Mep. They stayed together from 9 to about 16 miles. And those guys pulled free of the pack, and it set Mep up for that victory. Josephat, who lives in Mammoth Lakes, California, ended up drifting back to 11th place at Boston. And they're all taking their keys off of Meb Keflezighi. Not surprising, both here in the Davenport as a two-time Big 7 champion. He's been on the podium 4 times in his career here in the Quad Cities. Landry and Quigley. I mean, this is as good as we've seen since in the 1990s when we had dead heats. And Quigley has inched ahead. It looks like Sean Quigley's looking back a little bit. And Sean Quigley has nose ahead of Christo Landry, and Sean Quigley is going to be the 2014 Big 7 champion. Sean Quigley out of Boulder, Colorado, heading to the finish line. Crystal Landry fading a bit to second, trying to catch him, but it's going to be Sean Quigley, the 40th anniversary Big 7 champion.
33-26, 33-30 unofficially for Landry.
Here she comes.
Molly really hasn't been challenged throughout this race, and what a time she's running.
There's the finish.
36-12 unofficially.
Sean Quigley and Molly Huddle are 2014 Big 7 winners, and I guess no surprise about Huddle. Quigley, though, was one of the favorites.
He was definitely one of the favorites in the race. Came in here off a 4th place finish at the USA Track and Field National Championships in Sacramento on the track at 10,000 meters. It was his 3rd place finish here in 2010. He had something to eye and something to shoot for, and he grabbed it.
All right, we're going to hear from our new champion. Tiffany Liu is down at the finish line with Sean Quigley.
Absolutely. I have Sean here with me. What an incredible race you just ran. Tell me, how did you feel about today?
Oh, I mean, I'm thrilled. You know, it's 4 years since my last U.S. title, so I came here with the objective to win and going home with a smile on my face. So I'm excited.
And the competitors that you ran with today?
Yeah, I mean, it was a stellar field. You know, those guys really pushed me, and you know, coming in that last, you know, couple hundred meters with Christo, it was painful, but you know, you just try to gut through it, and at that point you're just like, it's simple, you just beat one man and you go home happy. So yeah, I'm just thrilled about today.
Well, for the 20th time in the 44-year history of the John Deere Classic, the tournament has a first-time winner, as Brian Harmon held off former JDC champ Zach Johnson by 1 stroke to claim his first PGA Tour victory. Now, the final round started with a classic salute by the tournament to servicemen and women, 5 of whom were honorary starters on the first tee. Defending champ Jordan Spieth began the day 6 strokes back, just as he was a year ago, but there would be no repeat as Spieth finished in a tie for 7th at 16 under. Now, Zach Johnson, the adopted favorite son of the JDC, was 3 shots back when he took the tee, but quickly made up ground with 3 birdies on the front side. Steve Stricker, looking for a 4th John Deere Classic win, was just 1 shot back in the final group, but a 68 left Stricker at -15, and that would tie for 11th place. The guy they were all trying to catch, Brian Harmon, the likable left-hander, took to the tee with a 1-stroke lead and looking for that first taste of victory. Harmon quickly increased his lead to 3 with a pretty eagle on number 2. That's the par 5, and he was at 19 under. Just 1 group ahead, though. Tim Clark was curling in a couple of birdie putts. He was up to shooting a 67 day. Clark was good for a tie for 5th place in this tournament. Scott Brown, who had that 61 on Saturday, also hopped up the leaderboard. Briefly tied for the lead. Zach Attack was back on. He picks up 3 birdies to start the back 9, grabbing a share of the lead with Harmon. Harmon then, though, would birdie that tough number 9 hole. Off the fringe it goes and into the cup, and he makes the turn with a 1-stroke lead. Now, Harmon and Zach Johnson were tied at 20 under with the 5 holes to go. Harmon then goes on a 3-hole birdie binge, starting with this bird on 14. He birdies the difficult 15th, and then with motorboats cruising by, that signature 16th, a great approach and an 8-foot birdie putt, and he's at 23 under par. Meanwhile, Zach Johnson trying to make it more interesting. He birdies 17. He's at -21, but he cannot birdie the 18th, giving Harmon some breathing room. And Harmon could even afford a bogey on the last hole. He played it very safe, and wisely so. And when he taps in for this par, well, it's Brian Harmon, the 2014 John Deere Classic champion.
It was definitely a magical finish for the lefty from Georgia. Brian Harmon wins his first ever PGA Tour victory, and it comes right here in Silvis at the John Deere Classic. For the 2nd straight year, a young gun gets his first W.
It is jubilation and relief. I've been putting so much pressure on myself to try to get this done, and it was almost like I had to let it go and just be like, you know what, I'm just going to go play golf and see what happens, and it worked out this week.
In his first ever final pairing, the Georgia Bulldog fed off the crowd and his playing partner, Steve Stricker.
It was unbelievable. You know, obviously Steve is a local hero around here, and for good reason. He's a he's an awesome guy and a better golfer. And so they were definitely on his side. And I felt like if I could turn them, then I'd have a pretty good day. And by the end of the day, I had a lot more fans. So it was really cool to see it happen. These are the best players in the world, and just trying to compete with them. And yeah, I was really nervous.
Brian, I noticed you had your putter out on the fairway on the 18th hole. What was your approach with the lead on the 18th hole?
I mean, just how I played it, I was aiming for this front half of the green, and you know, really where I feel like I won the golf tournament was 17. I hit it down there. It was in a divot just short right of the green, and there's no telling what can happen from over there, and hit a really good shot. So that par on 17 and the drive on 18, and you know, I knew if I got it on the green, it was in the books.
Just like Jordan Spieth a year ago, there's no doubt that Brian Harman will return next year as the John Deere Classic defending champion. And once again, just like Spieth, it sounds like Harman is going to be another QC adopted son. Here at the John Deere Classic, Ben Rosehart, KBQC, TV6 Sports.
This is great because if you're like a lot of people, maybe you're a small business owner, you got a lot of old documents, tax papers, and things like that. The typical shredder you find in a home or a business can only get maybe 10, 15 papers at a time. It can take hours, be a big pain. This is really convenient. Gather them up, we'll take them, and we'll put them in one of 3 really big industrial shredders that we have here today, and they're gone in a heartbeat.
And we are live at the Secure Shred event here at KWQC. If you just take a look at our driveway right now, you can see it's becoming pretty popular today. It's a beautiful day to be out here. We've got cars lining up. We've got Davenport Police directing traffic right now. Really only going to take you a few minutes, though. Despite the line that you're seeing, only takes you a few minutes to drive up the driveway, drop off your documents, and you'll be on your way within a couple of minutes. Now, we've got Chris here from Cintas to tell us a little bit about why it's so important, why people are coming out here to do this today.
Well, identity theft is on the rise. Anything you can do to protect your credit rating, your identity, you know, take every advantage you can. This is a free service. We're here all day. Get out while you can.
What we are doing is taking your documents, and in one of these bins right here, it actually holds 280 pounds of paper. So don't worry about bringing too much out here today because they're going to be able to handle it. And already so far, we can tell you that 15,000 pounds of documents have been shredded. It is that easy. People just stop by 805 Brady Street here in Davenport, drop up any documents, and like you can see here, you don't have to get out of your car. They are really moving people through pretty quickly here.
We're outside of our studios right now on the Brady Street Hill in Davenport for our Toys for Tots drive that's happening this morning. It's going on until 6:30 tonight. We've seen lots and lots of our viewers coming through here, making some great donations. Got this Mrs. Potato Head right here. Another one that we've seen a lot of is frozen toys like this. These are going to be things that make a child's day this Christmas. These are kids across the QCA who might not otherwise have something else to open. If you take a look inside the tent over here, we're going to see a lot of other donations, even more than what we've been showing you before, along with the Marines who have been coordinating all this. And
this is just a fantastic, heartwarming event.
Oh, it's always great every year. And, you know, I'm trying to scope out some of the toys back here in the Santa-mobile that kids are going to wake up to on Christmas morning. They're going to love it.
Oh, what an exciting, and Teresa, for some kids who otherwise may wake up to nothing on Christmas, this really fills a very, very important void.
And it never ceases to amaze me, the generosity of Quad Cityans. They're always there when we need them, and they're showing up right now.
And keep on showing up. We'll be out here until 6:30 tonight.
Welcome, everyone, to this great parade downtown Davenport. It's the Festival of Trees Holiday Parade.
As always, this tradition has brought hundreds of people downtown Davenport for this celebration for our entire community. As you can see, the kids all staring, ready for the first balloons and the floats to work their way down through the streets of Davenport.
Kind of embodies the unconditional love and friendship the toy soldier places a special place in the hearts of generations of kids, Gary.
Yeah, and 34 balloon handlers are helping him stroll down the street. He's always kind of interesting because he has to maneuver a certain way because he is so tall. So these people have to be trained so that they can dip him down under an overpass or get around the light systems. But he's now marching his way proudly down the street in the parade this morning. And as Scooby-Doo comes into frame, so does Marsha Lenz. Let's check in with her. Marsha?
This is an event for children for sure, and a lot of us are out here watching this out live. But if Randy can turn toward me, I want to introduce you to a young man who is here, but his grandmother is actually at home watching the parade live. So what's your name?
Brendan Wiley.
And you wanted to say something, Brendan, to your grandmother.
Yes.
What do you want to say?
I love you.
Oh, and I'm sure Grandma loves you too. So whether you're watching at home or watching live, it's a great parade. Back to you guys.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a touching moment, huh?
We all did a big on that one. So let's learn more about Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo, where are you? You know that little song, right?
Oh, sure. Rut-row, yeah.
Rut-row, yes. Now, coming to us from the IBEW, our group of local electricians, contractors, and family members. And so Scooby-Doo is doing a scamper down the streets of Davenport this morning.
Dozens of area veterans are making their way home tonight after a very busy and very special day in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, it's one of our favorite events here at TV6, welcoming those veterans home from an honor flight. KWQC's Elizabeth Goodsit is live at the airport tonight, where, Elizabeth, I'm sure the crowds are just huge.
Well, absolutely, Sharon and Brian. Let me tell you, this is one of the community's favorite events, too. It's something the QCA does really well. And take a look, and you can see why. The crowd is already lining up here to welcome home their veterans, their families, friends, and neighbors who may not know anyone personally on the flight, but they are still here at the airport. They're holding signs, they're waving flags, and a show of support and respect for the men and the women who will be walking through this crowd. And I have a family here, part of the crowd right now, and we're going to ask a quick question because you all, three sisters here, waiting for who?
Waiting for my grandpa, Herb Tegler.
All right, and he is 93 years old and had a chance to go on this before, didn't do it, did it this time. What are you hoping he'll take away? Why did he want to go?
I think he finally had the time to go, and he was really looking forward to visiting with people who've been through the same experiences and could talk about it and enjoy what they have worked so hard for.
All right, thank you so much. And all of those people will be welcomed home by all of these people. Of course, the best part about it, these veterans say they love going to see the monuments, but they actually love this homecoming, possibly even more. We are reporting live here in Moline. Elizabeth Goodsit, KWQC TV6 News.
I know, I absolutely love the homecoming. It's my favorite part as well. And we do have team coverage tonight. KWQC's Gary Mativier has been in Washington, D.C. with the veterans all day, bringing us live updates from the trip for the very first time.
He joins us live now. And Gary, I'm sure that you're all very happy to be home now and ready to greet all those well-wishers that are inside.
No doubt about it, Brian and Sharon. This is the excitement, really, after the storm, if you will. As you see here, they are unloading from the airplane right now. And what's happening is they are lining up and getting a little refreshment, a little Whitey's ice cream. They'll welcome them home. And then they'll go home to this incredible welcome home tonight. You know, this has been a long day that we have been covering it live all day long. It's been fantastic. You would think these veterans would be exhausted, and I'm sure they are. But as they get off the plane here, they are eager to reunite with their families and friends to talk about all that they have seen on this incredible day. Many of the guardians on this flight are Vietnam veterans, so you can imagine it's been a very emotional day for them as well, for everyone here as this honor flight is home. We will also be recapping some of the exciting moments we have experienced today as we have gone live from Washington, D.C. We'll have that for you a little bit later in the newscast as they start making their way to the big welcome home tonight. Brian and Sharon, for now, back to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present the greatest generation, the Korean War vets and the veterans from Vietnam.
I'll get them later. Well, I grew up in Moline, and there was a kid named Mike Warren. He got killed in '68, so I came to see, his name on a wall.
Oh, you bring tears to my eyes. I think it's one of the most marvelous things that anybody has ever done.
Welcome to D.C.
Hi. Welcome to D.C.
Well, I'm glad that I decided to go. And it's something I'll remember the rest of my life.
Our country is free
because of you.
I'm just honored to be here. Really, these guys before us, the Vietnam, Korean, everybody who served in the military, DC is a great place to have them and bring them here. And the ones that haven't been to it, the honor flight gives them that opportunity.
Birdie in the package. Herman, thanks for your service.
Thank you.
Thanks for your help today. Yeah. Thank you for your service. And what an amazing night. As you can hear, the celebration is continuing, and this will go on for the next 30 minutes and beyond as these veterans go home and start share their stories. You know, about 18 hours ago, this airport started filling up with about 200 men and women, strangers then from all backgrounds, battlefields, and conflicts. World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, and active service right now. All coming together for a tradition that has given thousands of Kwqcitians a trip of a lifetime. Tonight, the veterans and their guardians return as friends, brothers, and sisters. A new bond formed as they lived an extraordinary day together today that none of them will ever forget. Tonight, those 200 men and women return home with new memories to share, old stories to be told to the next generation, and you know what? A new family that will always be there for them. The Quad Cities has thanked them for their service with a gift like no other, an honor flight.
2014 was a year full of amazing stories.
200 acres. Harvesting work that could have taken days will now turn into hours.
To have everyone here today helping us, he would have hated being the center of attention, but he would have loved every minute of it.
It's rural Iowa at its best.
Bringing both sides of the river together to make this place we call our home. From the hard times,
Timothy McVeigh's first court appearance was today, just one day after his arrest. Family and friends of Carrie Olson were all in the courtroom today, ready to find closure.
To the good. To the moments we remember forever.
Well, the whole country appreciates us, and we know that now.
Every day, TV6 works hard to deliver the news to you. KWQC, serving Illinois and Iowa. Every day.